Oh yeah. So guys, let's talk about this, because I've been spinning my wheels over the satellite phone deal, possibility EMP attack, but I don't want to just hit one aspect and run with it as all factual. A lot of it's theory because we're not behind these doors, and there's a lot of things being played in the background that I'm catching on to now that's making me look in other different directions. All right guys, welcome back. Survival Living here. So we have an article that's popped up here for you. Emergency satellite phones issued to senators fuel conspiracy claims. Now this here is an article I grabbed from Newsweek. There's actually multiple articles from mainstream media that has been released on this. It's just one I got for you just for reading off. Reports that U.S. lawmakers have been issued satellite phones for emergency communications have been taken out of context to disseminate unsubstantial false flag claims and conspiracy theories on social media. Now when I first saw this, guys, my concern, because the article I originally was reading was talking about when communication and infrastructure fails, is shut down. The only thing I can think of that can do that right off the top of my head was an EMP blast, a high nuclear explosion, cascade down, knock out our grid. Another thing that can happen is hackers. Now you can also take down the grids by taking out substations. We've seen that. Back in North Carolina is one of the most recent ones, and you know, they had a little string of that going on. Shows substations were vulnerable to rifle attacks. Now, this is what's got me thinking of a different aspect. I stayed away from dates because I have no control of anything. There's too many dates out there. You can follow any type of rabbit hole you want to, and all these dates have never brought anything, you know, as far as, oh, it's going to happen today or on September, blah, blah, blah. It never works. All right, so the first, it's like 7 days away, something like that. The debt ceiling. I was going to stay away from this because I've seen the debt ceiling get reset every time. You know, I don't agree with raising the debt ceiling. I think they need a budget, but without the raise of the debt ceiling, the U.S. government defaults. I don't believe they're going to allow the U.S. government to default. So, I honestly believe that they're going to raise it. Back to this article. Safety and security of U.S. government officials and officers have become focal points in the U.S. public in recent weeks, compounded by the incident involving a U-Haul truck that crashed into the security barriers near the White House and a viral generated Pentagon explosion hoax. I want to cover this. So that U-Haul that hit one of the barriers at a very low speed was completely emptied. They labeled FBI and everything else, ran with white supremacy. Now, the guy's not even white, but white supremacy is actually an ideology, not a race. But mainstream has always pushed, if you're white, there you go. It's just a push. The U-Haul was completely empty, nothing in there, except for a swastika flag, a Nazi flag. And when they took their photos, it was laid out on the ground and all this good stuff. It was, in my opinion, it was set up. All right. Now, the AI-generated Pentagon explosion hoax. I hope I found the photo for you guys. I did see this when it came out because I was watching the markets. No, I don't play the stock markets anymore, but I keep an eye on it because reactions that happen, it feel, you know, work over there, and I can tell if something's going on. It was a small dip, nothing major. Then I found out what was going on. It was a photo. Now many believe that Russia was behind it. Then I see AI did it and done it on its own. I don't believe that either. I think it was just, you know what, I don't know what to think about that. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more false flags, fast Freddies, recent and coming up. Which brings me back to the sat phones. All right, originally my concern was an EMP. I mean, guys, I'm all about EMP protection. It's still a possibility of a threat. But when I read more into the articles that I was finally getting hold of, I keep on seeing hints and rounds of alarming headlines and ongoing concerns about security in DC following the Jan 6 Capitol insurrection. Reports of the latest safety measures were quickly pounced on by conspiracy theorists. This, in my opinion, is what this is all about. You know, they're doing training in the basement of something, I forgot the facility now, going over mail screening, shatterproof glasses, additional security protocols, all this stuff for these senators and aides. I'm not expecting another Jan 6. What I am expecting to happen is a civil conflict. And my concern is how it gets started. If the economy collapses, yes, there's going to be a major civil conflict here in America. I believe they're preparing to defend themselves against the American people. That's my thoughts. I could be wrong. I'm looking at this and the things are adding up towards they are scared of us. In which, honestly, they should be, because we have the right to remove an oppressive government. It's in our Constitution. They act like they are above the law. They do whatever we want to. They do not answer to us. And that got messed up a long time ago, and it's been that way. Now, am I calling for insurrections? No. I know, there's going to be people pissed at me about that. I want you guys to think this out. Should a government be replaced? Absolutely. Do we have a shoddy government? Yes, and I don't mean just this current administration. I mean the whole core of what's going on. Right fast, guys, I want to talk about one of our affiliates that is actually sponsoring this video. It is Bigfoot Bushcraft. These are the fire plugs. And they also sent us their ferrocerium rod. These things are freaking amazing. So I went ahead and took a lot of this outside after a rainstorm here in Florida and made a fire. We're using wet wood. This stuff here, guys, works very well. You can actually get this stuff wet. It is waterproof and still start a fire. Again, it is Bigfoot Bushcraft. These are the fire plugs. These things I have used in my kit many of times. We've been affiliated with them for over a year now, and it goes in our fire kits. It goes in our bug out bags, our get home bags. These things I have tested, tried and true many times in many different situations, and they are a great product to have. We've been affiliated with them for a very long time, and this is what we actually do carry in our fire starting kits, in our packs. All right, again, this is the fire plugs and the ferrocerium rod. I like the ferrocerium rod. It's a good thick rod. It's about ½ inch thick. I've broken I don't know how many ferro rods doing outdoor bushcraft. I haven't broken one of these yet. They're heavy duty. This is why I like them. And as you guys can see there, our fire is doing just fine. All right, guys. Catch y'all later. But before people start screaming and hollering, we need to take this, we need to take that, we need to destroy this, have you figured out everything yet? Do you have a set government to take over? Do you have that in line? Have you vetted the people that you want to run the country, the states? Do you want the states independent like they originally were without the federal government? Do you have all this groundwork set in place? Or are you planning on just taking out the big cap and let the current crookedness continue? Here's another thing for you. During a civil conflict, our normal way of life stops. It stops. Millions, and hear me, millions of people will die. Not just from direct physical contact from kinetic tools. Not just from being shot. No, starvation, power failures. Not a way of heating up their home. Because, you know, right now, there's a bunch of yahoos in the middle of a combat, knocking out power grids, everything else, and it's the middle of winter time, and 3,800 people in that other town that has nothing to do, just wants to be left the hell alone, are now freezing to death because their grid just went down. And guess what? The government's currently in a big conflict from an insurrection. They just cannot get there to fix anything. Now, I know there's going to be well, that's just collateral damage for the cause. You know what? You do you, whatever. I'm a prepper. I'm prepared for a conflict here. Unlike many that want to scream and holler and beat their damn chest that they are ready for war. You ain't ready for jack. You're ready for Xbox or PlayStation, whatever the hell y'all play. That's what you're ready for. You're not ready for jack. There is so much logistics in this. Fact is, a civil conflict is going to cause a massive amount of deaths and American citizens. Now, do I believe our government needs to change? Abso-freaking-lutely. I about dropped the F-bomb there. Yes. But things have to be put in place. But anyway, enough ranting on that. What I believe is going on here is that they are preparing for something against them from the American people. Now, it's going to be our job to figure out what it is that they're going to do to cause such an uprising. Yeah. Inflation, food, power, economics. It's going to be one of those. That is what's going to cause an uprising against them. Odds are it's going to be food, in my opinion. But then again, economics. Dollar drop, people's going to be ticked off. What you guys need to be doing, in my opinion, is preparing your family for the long haul. I'm not talking about just a couple weeks worth of food and water. Now, I want to stress out, that's a great starting point. If that's all you've done so far, you're new, or you've been here for a while, and you only have 3 weeks to a month of food put back, I'm not going to come down on you. Congratulations on that. I'm glad that you took that step and responsibility to make something happen for you and your family. Now I want you to continue. Each week, $5, if that's all you can do, buy a couple cans of food, put it in a normal rotational stock. Make sacrifices. Really look down at your life. Don't look down on your life. Look down at what you're doing. Give yourself a nice little aerial view. That's how my mind works. Look at everything that you spend. You cannot buy food, but you have Netflix, you have Amazon Prime, you have whatever HBO, all this stuff. I used to have that. I'd get the free premiums and stuff like that every once in a while. And then as soon as the free thing was done, I was done. Because I utilized that income towards preps. There you go. That right there is $20 to $30 a month that can go to preps. You can watch stuff online for free all the time without having to have HBO or Paramount Plus or whatever. Just a thought and suggestion. My recommendation, get food put back, get supplies, water filtration, work on alternative power. You know, I had a comment, must be nice to have a solar grid like that. I can't afford that. That was piece by piece. Yeah. A large section of it was when I got injured and I got my settlement from my injuries from work after I had to go through a year of physical therapy, 2 surgeries to get my body halfway decent. And that was a long haul recovering myself. I bought a trailer, a little 6x12 trailer that we turned into a mobile camper. I invested like two grand in the solar grid. Some of that come from that solar grid. Piece by piece. Buy a charge controller this week. Put it back. Put it in a Faraday cage. Buy the cables that you need next week. Buy a solar panel next week. You can piece it together. The instant gratification people want in America, and that is in the prepping community, is staggering. Prepping is a freaking marathon for us normal Joes. We're not rich. We live paycheck to paycheck. Now, what I've done, we still live paycheck to paycheck, but I still take a percentage of that, because the reason I say that is because I take a percentage of that and I invest it into our gold and silver stocks. For our financial, we keep a little bit of cash on hand to deal with transactions when the grid goes down. We keep food on hand. If everything was to stop right now, or my income was to stop right now, we're good. We don't have to worry about food. We don't have to worry about power. We don't have to worry about our vehicle insurance because we have enough cash on hands, etc., to pay that. Cell phone, we have so much in front of us to pay these bills. That takes time. Is what it does. Time and sacrifice. It's amazing. I see people that, when they see someone that has gotten successful or finally ahead of the game, even just a little bit, well, it must be nice. You don't know how tough it is. Actually, yes, I do. That's why I'm now ahead of the game, because I hunkered down, got off my ass, and worked on it. Instead of whine and complain, it must be nice. I come from a long line of people that doesn't gripe and whine. You want something to happen? You use your 2 damn hands. You make it happen. There ain't nobody out there going to give you anything. All right, guys. Speak to you later.